Sailor,
Hey,
how are you?
good. How are you?
Good, good.
I need
Hold
to
on,
I need to blow my nose really quick, really
go
bad.
ahead, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just
No,
want to
don't
do
worry about it. I'm printing something. Go ahead, do what you need to
Okay.
do, honey.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, it is okay. Listen, this weather is not conducive.
My allergies have
It's,
been.
I know the allergies are terrible right now. You're exactly right. Let me put my glasses on. Well, it is a pleasure to put a face with your name. Um, I know that you were probably more than anxious when you saw that there was only you in the class.
I was, but now I'm feeling like better about it after you sent the video explaining everything,
Yes.
and I'm feeling a little comfortable now.
Yes. I'm just curious. Are all your other classes like this? Are there
No,
others? There are others in them, right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I don't know what happened this year. I haven't really been told. I don't know. But for whatever reason, enrollment is down for this type of degree, the ECE, early childhood degree. It seems to be low. Even when I teach on campus, I only have 3 students.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and usually I would have 5 or 6. It's never been a big crowd ever, but I don't know what happened. I believe somewhere along the line they didn't get out the word or something. Now, are you currently working as a para?
Yes, ma'am. In a
Right.
pre-K
Where are
classroom.
you from, hon? Where are you from?
I'm from Blakely, Georgia.
Oh yeah, Blakely. I know it well. So
Yeah.
you work all week long as a para.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Well, I can tell you, I don't know if you know this or not, but this is a fabulous program. When you leave TU, you know everything there is to know about what you need to do when you walk in that room the first time and it's yours. And they do an excellent job. I think you'll be well pleased. It's just it's a great way for a para to become a teacher. It's the ultimate. You already are ahead of the game by being a para because you already know what goes on.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what grade level do you work with?
I'm in pre-K.
Oh, well, then this class is for you. You're going to love this class. People
Yeah.
that are in 3 through 5 hate this course because they don't like little people.
Yeah.
And then usually my pre-K, K, and 1, they like it. Second grade likes it, but the rest they hate it. But anyway, you're in good shape because you're one of my people. So I'm glad to have you. And it's going to be a different ride this time because we are just you and I together. It really surprises me that they did not make this an independent study. And in a way, I wish they had of. I'm not going to get paid the full amount for the class because there's not enough, to merit that. But with an independent study, we wouldn't have to necessarily meet. You wouldn't have to come to class, and I could give you assignments and you do them, yada, yada, but that's not the way it's going to roll. So we're going to pretend like there's 20 people in here, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
But it will be different. It will be different. And I don't want you to become panicked when you see the word group project, because that's what I usually do. I do some sort of group project in class just to help the students out a little bit, where it's not just me talking, because that's so boring.
Yes, ma'am.
And where there's no way we can do a group project. So we'll amend them, we'll bend them, we'll shape them to fit your needs, and we'll move on.
Okay.
So the first thing on the agenda is the overview of the observation component. And this is where students become very upset and scared. But it's not that big a deal. For you, what's so nice about this, the way it's been written up, you can use your class time in your classroom that you work in every day as your observation hours. You don't have to go down to kinder and observe. You just stay right where you are in your classroom. You can pick any time period during the day that you want to count as your observation hours. Now, these hours don't start till week 4, okay?
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about that. And in week 4, that's when you will look at your school day, and you'll probably have to look at the questions in the discussion board to see what kind of questions you would answer about this particular observation, and then go back and select the time period that would answer those questions. That's what I would do. Everything starting in week 4 is on that discussion board where it concerns on-site observations. Now, have you filled out the form in the class? I think it might have been before class began. I don't know if you have or not, but it was a form. It's either you are a school employee or you're not a school employee. Have you seen that?
Uh,
Let me see if it's even in there. Hang on just a minute. I'll share my screen with you.
well, no, I
Um,
remember seeing something about fill it out if you're a school
yes,
employee or if you're not, but
yes.
I don't remember if
All
I
right.
did.
Well, hold on. We're going to take a look at it right now. Let's see. Where are we at? Which one can you? Oh, here it is. I see it. Okay. Let me enlarge this. Okay. That's not what I want you to look at, but hang on. Let me get it. Um, so there should be, or there was in the other class. Let me check and see if she's got it here. Nope. Let's go down. It may not be in here. Well, that's interesting. Maybe she put it in week 2. Yes. Okay, so it is by week 2 that you're going to see this form pop up, and it is a pre-K and field placement form for anthology. Do you see that on your screen?
This is in your class or is this in?
Yes, I believe this is in my class. Yes, it's in. Oh, I know why you can't see it. I haven't
Yeah,
shared out week 2. That's why. Hang on.
I was about to say I only have week one
Yeah,
out.
that's right. That's right. I'm going to go ahead and publish it just so you can see it. You
Okay.
may have to refresh your page. Go into week 2 at the bottom. It's going to be about the third one from the bottom, pre-K and field placement form.
It's not popping up. Hold on one second.
It's okay. Give it a minute because I did. I'll just share that out. So it might take a few
Here it
minutes.
is.
Okay. All right. So by the end of week 2, by September the 6th, I'd go in, like when I share this out on tomorrow, probably I'd go in and fill it out. But it takes you into anthology. And I don't know if I did this or not. Yeah, I did. Okay. So it is ready to go into, and you will see I think I need to change out mine. I don't know why it's still showing that. Hold on. Let me redo mine for a minute. Should be okay. Anyway, you're going to see a drop box or a place that's going to take you to another tab. Let me see if it'll show now. I don't know why it didn't. Nope, it's still there. That's weird. I've never had it do that. Actually, okay. Well, anyway, there should be at the bottom of your screen on this page, you should see a place where you can click. It's to go to another tab. Do you see that by chance?
Um,
Uh,
well, actually, I
just
have
tell me what you see.
actually, it just shows like the anthology like web. You know how when you click on the link, it takes you
Yeah.
to this little
To
page.
anthology?
It's showing that exact page, just
Well,
like
I
on
don't
the bottom
know.
of the
I'm
screen, like where you're
looking
says
at,
Thomas University or whatever. Yeah, but
right.
it's showing up like the anthology page, which
Okay. Well,
seems
that I
out.
don't know why it's doing that. It should show the I don't know. I may have to investigate a little bit more on that one because I'm gonna stop this share right quick. I'm gonna anyway. My bottom line here is you have some time, okay? And you'll
Okay.
fill this form out, and I'll go back and double check that and make sure it's right because right now it doesn't show it. But you just go in there and fill out a form. That's all it is. And it just basically is telling Dr. Morey where you are, your school, where you work, and you just have to fill out some pertinent information. You already are an employee of the school. You can use your own classroom hours to fill in your observation. You do not have to go to your principal and say, I need to go down to kinder and observe. It all we require is that you have a classroom that has 4 or 5 year olds in it, and you fit the bill. So that's going to be easy. The main thing here is I would suggest when you are going to do the observation and select the hour, and you only are doing 4 hours, okay? 4 separate visits or 4 separate times in your class that you would examine. But I would just look at the questions first and then decide, well, which part of the day could I answer those questions? That's what I would say.
Okay.
And the discussion board, I don't know if I can show this. Let me see. I had some things picked out.
I had a.
Um,
Oh wait,
Let
hold
me
on.
see if I can share this with you again. Let's see what we can share. Okay. Okay. Right now, you are looking at a page that has a PowerPoint, and this is all about the requirements for the actual observations. You can go in here. This is in your course shell. You can go in here anytime you need any kind of clarifications. They're all right here. Okay.
Okay.
Right now, it's just on site, and I'm going to close that up, and I'm going to go to the discussion board. Um, and of course, the first week was you just go in there and you just read this and then write this statement out. No, I think you just, let's see. It's just basically stating what all is a part of the observation. 4 hours in pre-K or kinder in original settings, such as some people can't do hours in their school because they can't leave their classroom. So we make it where they could go into a boys and girls club, a daycare setting, any kind of organized classroom with 4 and 5 year olds so they can meet the requirement because people work and sometimes it's not easy for you to get away from your grade level. We understand that. And these hours can be all pre-K or all kinder. It doesn't matter. You will have time to do this and starting in the fourth week. You have week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, basically that you can work on observation hours for in on site. And but you can only work in pre-K or kinder. You couldn't go to first grade and do it. You couldn't go to third grade, etc. And then you are required to fill out that form that we just mentioned that you can't get access to. But I'm going to go back in and correct that. Hopefully this week because I think it's wrong. I think
You
it's
know, the placement form is showing up like
oh, okay.
it's not like a link though, if that makes sense. I
That
don't
is
know how.
crazy. Can you fill out the form?
Yes, I can. I clicked on it and it's like it
Okay.
doesn't take me anywhere. It's a link and I'm pretty. Yeah, I can fill it out.
I'd
But
fill it
it's
out
just
then. Yeah, I'd
yeah,
fill it
it's
out.
just odd because it was like I thought you were trying to take me to the website and I was like,
Yeah, and
it's
it should
the
have
same
logged you
thing.
in. It should have logged you into your anthology when you clicked on it, and that's why I think something's not just right. Um, but I thought I did everything I was supposed to do, so I'm not sure.
Well, it's
These
got my
things have
name.
a way of working themselves out too. Anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't want you to be panicked.
I think it's on the right. I think it'll work.
Okay.
I think it's
Well, as
right.
long as you can fill out that form, you're good. Because that's all we need is the form. She was Dr. Tessar, so I call her Dr. Tessar, but she's Dr. Murray now. She got married. But mainly she just needs to track you to know where you are, what school you're in, that kind of thing. She's not going to have to set up any observation because you're there, you're an employee, and you can do it on your own. And
Okay.
that's part of the program, that's to work with you and the fact that you're employed there. So,
Yeah.
but that's
I emailed her.
do what now?
I emailed her and asked her about, if I could do it at my school and
Yeah,
stuff.
yes, yes, and I'm sure she said yes, right?
I'm pretty sure she did. I haven't checked it. She just emailed me
Well,
yesterday.
yeah. Well, anyway, she's the head person over this, all observations and all that good stuff. But I think you're in good shape. First of all, you can get access to the form. I'm going to go ahead and leave week 2 open. I usually don't open it until Sunday. I'm just going to leave it open so you can go in there if you want to. You can see what lies ahead, and some of that we may have to alter. I don't know. We'll just see as we move along. So that's a big thing for students. First of all, when they come into this course, is I'm looking over here because I've got to move the screen, and it doesn't want to move. You'll find that I'm very slow with technology. I've got 3 screens in front of me, so it does get kind of crazy. There it is right
Oh
there. Okay, let
goodness.
me click off that. All right, going back to the agenda. Um, the one thing on there in that first week, I believe it is. Again, let me see if I can share my screen for you. Yeah, let's go back here. All right, that'll work. Okay, and you should be seeing the course shell. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right, so we're going to go down a little bit into, um, I wanted to see let me go to discussion board right quick. Again, going off the observations, of course, this week was just you posted your philosophy, why you want to be a teacher, yada, yada. You did that already. So it's done. And you don't have to worry about responding to anybody. That's fine. Several of the weeks, I will have assignments up that are posted on the discussion board. Like week 3, I think you're going to do a small and large group activity. I'm not sure which one it is, if it's pre-K or kinder, but with that being said, we'll probably let you talk about those things when we come to class because there's nobody else here. And then on week 4, let's take a look at that. That's the first week that you would be required to have an on-site observation, and you would come out here and just fill out this form, and easy peasy. And then this right here is something new I've added. It's a contextual factor sheet. And basically, being that you are in this classroom, this is going to be easy for you, but you're going to fill this form out. And you might say, well, why am I doing this? This is to learn more about your audience that you're teaching. This is to learn more about the students, where they are, how many males, how many females, how many kids have special needs, what ethnic groups are they from, how diverse is your population, that sort of thing in your classroom. Anyway, it's just a real straightforward form, and you will fill that out. Now, I do not believe it has to be, it will not have to be turned in, I don't think, until week 8. So you've got a couple of weeks there to fill it out. If you have questions on the form, you can always ask your classroom teacher. She will be glad, I'm sure, to assist you. It is due the 8th week of the course, so you have a couple of weeks to work on it. But this is just to make you have maybe more of a open-mindedness about, well, who am I teaching? Who is in my classroom? And then you're just going to do your first impressions of the class that you had. Maybe you might even go back to the first day of school thinking what you thought of them. I know in pre-K it can be kind of mixed. Some can come in
Yes.
crying, others just walk right in. And then you just answer these questions. And all this is tied to this week 4 observation, and the contextual factors lesson is there. It does have the word lesson plans and teaching videos, but this is just about really understanding more about the class that you teach. Okay. So that's upcoming. That'll be something you'll see. I don't want you to, be blindsided and say, "Well, I didn't know about that." So that's something that you will see like I said, be mindful of it. And even in the course shell, I think it is. Let me move over here.
I had a question about
Yes.
the requirements discussion that you were just showing me, but
Mm-hmm.
like it's saying requirements due on Sunday. Like it's saying I should reply, and I
No. Are you talking about where you did your first thing, where you did your introduction?
no, ma'am. Okay, you posted um you just had it pulled up, and it's
Okay,
like
is it
you,
on this
you
one
just
right here,
you just
or,
are
or is it
reading the
this one?
requirements.
This one right here? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Gotcha. You're talking about this one right here. It is the first week. And what I would do is I would just respond to this by stating I understand the requirements.
Okay.
In other words, if like let's say there were 10 of you in here, I would want to verify that everybody is aware of what they have to do
Okay.
for observations. That's really the point of that. Just make a general statement. I understand that I will do 4 hours in the classroom, and I will. Um, I think that's all I mentioned right now is just the 4 hours. Okay.
Okay.
The other part, while we have this up, the other part will come in week 9.
Okay.
And in week 9, we move into what we call video observations. Now, what that means, and a lot of students misunderstand this, they'll say, "Oh, I have to go in a video class." No, no,
Just the
no, no,
channel.
no. All you're going to do is in week 9, I'll go ahead and pull it up. You're going to see something like this. Where is week 9? Here we go. Video observation discussion board. It's going to look like this. There is an actual video that you will watch. And these classrooms are all over the continental United States, veteran teachers all over the place. And it's called the teaching channel. And you will be told how to get there. And this first one is about the California Gold Rush, and it looks something like this picture that you're going to see on your. By the way, can you see what I'm looking at? You probably can't, can you?
No, ma'am.
I
But
stopped the share, didn't I? Hang on, let's see if I can share it out. Hang on, I get so tired of this share button. Okay, so you should be able to see it now. Can you see?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So this is what it might. I'm not going to say it's going to look 100% like this, but let me close that off. Okay. But it's about the first one you'll do. It's a week 9, and we'll talk about this again when we get close to week 9. But I'm just trying to show you what it's like. You would watch this video. This is about the California Gold Rush, and it's about students in California and how they're being taught about social studies. And you watch the teacher teach the lesson, and then you're going to answer questions about that observation that you watched online. You do this in the comfort of your home, in front of your computer. You can do it at midnight, you can do it at 2 a.m. in the morning, and all you have to do is just make sure it's put in the Dropbox according to the due date. But what the deal here is that we know you are working a job where you're there 5 days a week from 8 to 4. And we realize that students, especially teacher candidates like yourself, you're not going to have time to invest in observations throughout the school. You don't have time for that. It's probably not allowed that much. So this is meeting the demands of your lifestyle. And it's put in here because we feel like this is actually doable, and it's controllable, and you can do it at your home rather than having to worry about running down to someone's room. So this doesn't start till week 9. So you
Okay.
got a while. But I wanted to mention it so that you're not sitting there thinking, well, all I got is 4 hours. Well, you do, but then you'll have an additional 8 hours in video observations. They'll come one a week, and they last, I think, until week 16. And at that point, what happens is you have 12 hours, and those 12 hours take you to that point where you have completed all the requirements for this class. So you have to do them. It's a doable thing. Now, the 4 hours have to be recorded in Anthology. And that means you'll have to go in, log in, and you'll have to create a journal, and then you'll write in. All you're going to do with that is you're going to write in 4 hours. Well, I'm sorry, 1 hour. You'll do 1 hour per time, one per journal, and you'll say 1 hour on October the 5th from 12 to 1 p.m. You don't write anything up. You don't have to explain anything. You are merely documenting your hour.
Okay.
You do it 4 times in Anthology. Where you write about your experience or you write about the video, that is all on the discussion board. And then at the end, I'll give you something that you'll make a general statement that says, I've completed all the requirements for the video observation board. Bam, you're done. But that
Okay.
comes at the end. So it is, I think, doable, and it's easier than, again, trying to run around and do. I mean, I'm a veteran teacher. I know. I mean, you get in that classroom and they don't let you out because they need you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and in pre-K especially, I think you have to have two people in the room at all times. So,
Yes, ma'am.
so we're not gonna mess with that. Okay, so I'm gonna stop our share for a moment if I can. Did I already stop it, or did I not?
You
Okay,
did.
well, I'm not sharing. Okay, good. Okay, so that was that. Now I'm gonna go back and see. Yeah. Okay. So we've gone over that. I think you have a clear understanding of what you have to do. If you have questions along the way and you're like, I didn't get that, you can always come back and ask an email. I'm all about it. I'll answer you. Also, when this is over, I am recording this session and I will give you access to this. So if there's something you want to go back and listen to, you can, and it'll probably be posted in announcements, and you'll see video link, and you can go watch it if you ever need to. I understand if you don't want to watch it, but there could be something maybe as time goes on.
Yeah.
There is a mention here about, professional attitude and professional dress. You work at your school. I'm not going to touch that. You know how to do, and you know how you're doing. So I'm not going to address that. That is really put in there for my students that are on campus and they are not currently employed with a school system and they're just beginning. And you're already in the trenches, so I'm not going to go there. The next thing you'll see is the Nearpod lectures and quizzes. And those are in the course shell. They're in week 1. There's one lecture and there's one quiz. Now, have you been able to complete that? I wanted to know personally if you had access and could see the Nearpod video. Have you done that yet?
I did
You
the
must
whole Nearpod.
do what now?
I did the whole Nearpod. I
Good.
went through the whole thing. You
Good.
sent an email though, the last link didn't
Yes.
work.
Yeah, there was
You
some
did it.
difficulty. And so I
Yeah.
went back and redid it. But if you watched it the first time, you're good.
Well, I went through the whole Nearpod, but the last link where it wouldn't work, I didn't watch that video. That was the only
Gotcha.
one that I didn't watch.
Right, right. And that's fine.
But and then
The,
you emailed and said, I
it's a
see you're
different
having
link.
difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some difficulty with that. What happened was I think there was a video at the end that wouldn't show anymore. It was no longer there. I didn't realize that, so I had to go back in and correct it. The main thing is I wanted to make sure that the link was working, so you didn't have any
Yes.
trouble once it worked. It did work, right?
I haven't watched the last video.
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
fine.
go back
I don't
in
care. I
afterwards,
don't
but
care. That's fine. But anyway, I choose to do those rather than again lecture in class because I think it puts people to sleep. So I'll let you do that on your own. Then you just take a little quiz and just remember you don't ever write anything in the Nearpod. You just save it for the quiz. You can always pull the Nearpod back up, review it, and then answer the questions however you want to do it. I don't care. It's just merely there as a kind of a safeguard that you will actually watch the videos because a lot of people will just type done and not watch, and then they don't know what they. But I mean, there's nothing to it. So that's
yeah.
just a little, I guess, balance and check and
I
balances system.
I watched the videos and I took the quiz, and I know there was some that said you could find this in your book and stuff, but I didn't even
Have to
really
look at it.
look
Mm-hmm.
because I had notes on the videos and stuff. But I was gonna ask you too,
Mm-hmm.
is the book, or do I need to buy that book, The Five
Oh,
Essential?
I tell you, I would buy the book.
Okay.
I would buy it. Although I will say that this core shell is almost like a book, but I would buy that book. You
Okay.
will find some good stuff in there. So I wouldn't say not buy it. I'd get it's not that high, is it? I don't think it's that expensive.
I I'm not sure.
Well, anyway,
So
I think you can buy it. I mean, I don't think it's that
I looked it
expensive.
up and I can't remember. I'll have to look
Yeah.
it up again.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So, okay. Next thing on the agenda talks about the core shell and your responsibilities in keeping up with classroom duties and I have to say this because in a class of 20 I'll have 5 that never turn anything on time, that never look at a due date, that are just disregard it, and I doubt very seriously that's going to be one of you, but I'm just telling you that it is your responsibility to look at the course shell. A lot of students will look at the course calendar when things are due, and they do not even look at the shell. And in my opinion, the course shell, I think with all classes, becomes like a textbook. And if you're not looking in there, you're going to miss something that you might need. So I strongly suggest that take some time to review each page and see what's in there. If you just do a click and look and move on, but at least you have an awareness of what's there. I try really hard to promote when assignments are due. And this time I did include a actual calendar that I printed out.
I
And I'll
loved
go
that.
do what now?
I loved how you did the calendar.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel good.
Yeah. I haven't
I am
printed
a
it yet, but I'm going to print it.
Yes. And I did that because, again, some students, I'm just pulling it up right now. Some students, do like to just use that calendar over to the left side of the page on the tabs where you can click on it. And it is nice. I mean, I love it too. But I thought, I like paper and pencil. I mean, I love a computer, but I like paper and pencil. And this is a pretty accurate view of what it's due and when it's due, and you can check it off. If you're one of those kind of people, I like to
Yes.
check things off. I like to
I
feel
like to
like
make
I'm
a
efficient.
checklist every day.
So anyway, you can print that off and you can have it at your. I don't think there's anything that I think everything's on here is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you could use that. That's why I did it. I'm so glad to hear you liked it, and there will be one for every month. You'll see it pop up when it gets time for the new month. You'll see it pop up.
Great.
So it is in there. And again, it is embedded over here on the left side. There is that calendar that you can click on it. You can actually go to the assignment. Some of this, I think, if you use it online, I think it's been hyperlinked. So some of them have, not all of them, but there is that. But I do believe in, we'll try to hold these due dates down as when they're due. I'm not totally against trying to change something if we have to, but ordinarily I like to keep everything as is because I'm doing 4 classes this semester, so I've got a lot that I'm balancing,
That's
and I
right.
have certain days I grade for certain classes to keep everything on the going right. So anyway, those are the due dates. Like I said, I don't think you'll have any problem with that. But I do know you're taking quite a few other classes, aren't you? How many classes are you taking?
I'm only in 2 right now,
Oh,
but then
good,
I
good.
have 2 more that come in
Second.
October.
Okay, okay. Well, that is a wonderful thing to know because you can quickly become overwhelmed, if you will,
Yes.
if you're bouncing 4 or 5. I mean, I had some yesterday. Thursday in class that said they had 5 classes, and I'm going, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's terrible. So anyway, this is a view of the course shell I'm looking at right now, and I'm just trying to decide. Let's see, we're at 8:27. Um, just a minute, let me see if we don't. I don't know if I should pull this up or not. I'll see. Yeah, this is last year's copy, but it'll work and everything. So a lot of the conversation in this class for this day is, of course, what is developmentally appropriate? What does that mean? And we know that being developmentally appropriate is really something that every grade level should look at. You will hear me get on my soapbox a lot because I talk about how when I first started teaching kindergarten 30 years ago, it was a very wonderful place to be. It was exploratory. Students, were read books. Students studied in units. Students studied about their environment. It was very exploratory, and there was time for play. There was time for centers. There was time for exploration. And now in kindergarten, if you go down to the kindergarten building and you go into the classroom, you see a total different setup. The centers have been removed. They're sitting in sometimes desk tables. They are working on paperwork pretty much all day. They are tied to a computer, doing whatever program that school has put out, and they're learning to read completely, and they know math. I mean, I'm not against teaching children these skills, but I just think that they've gone overboard. I think that they're hurting children. They're certainly not respecting children. They're not respecting childhood. The expectation is you will read before you leave kindergarten, and if you don't, you are behind. Is that developmentally appropriate for all children? No. Not all children are ready. You know yourself in your pre-K classroom, not all of them were ready for pre-K. You've probably got a table that is ready, and you've got a table that is not ready.
Yes.
You are probably working with one group, your teacher's working with the other group, and you're constantly battling the fact that this group is behind already.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't stop. The train doesn't stop. It keeps moving on. And then when they get to kindergarten, they've been in an environment. I truly believe that they've done everything they can do to protect pre-K. And I do believe that there's lots of exploration, there's lots of centers, there's lots of self-initiative play, there's everything that needs to be going on to me in pre-K. I spent 3 years doing intervention work with pre-K. I was in that room off and on all day. I saw lots of wonderful things going on. I loved it. I never thought I would love it like I did, but I did. But I loved it so much because it was what I did when I first started. And then as I gradually went through, about when I hit year 25, everything changed. And it turned into, I was teaching first grade as a kindergarten teacher. And I will give this personal example. I have a grandson. He goes to Lee County, and he was in pre-K last year, and he hit kindergarten this 2 weeks ago. Was his first time, and he's had some bumps along the way. And my daughter just reached out to me, and she says, I am very upset. He is not behaving. They've even requested that he go to a small group because he's not behaving. I said, what is he doing? And she said, well, the teacher said he wouldn't do his work. He was scribbling on his paper and all, and he was loud and just being really wrong. I mean, he was acting wrong. And I said, well, I'm gonna tell you something. I said, he's been in a pre-K environment where the expectation has not been that high. And I said, he's got to adjust. And I said, not every kid can. And and she said, well, I'm all for him going, to this little group to learn how to, perform, and if that's what it takes. I said, yeah. I said, sign him up for it. It won't hurt him. I said, look at this. Look at it like this, Caroline. It's like baby boot camp. They're just trying to get him, where he needs to be. And then she called me back and she said, Mama, you will not believe this. She says, I've had a meeting with the teacher, and the teacher has sat me down, and she said, you will not believe what he scored on the bench line when they tested the letters and the beginning reading. She said, Mother, he is reading all kind of sentences. The teacher was like thrown back. She was like, oh my God, Caroline, he is so advanced. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, he's just
he's ahead of he's ahead of everybody. She said, I don't know what I'm going to do with him. She said, he's bored. She said, I honestly, God, believe the kid was just like screaming out, please take me away from this.
That is funny. Oh my goodness.
But every kid is different, and not all children are ready. And it
Yeah.
may be that they've come out of a pre-K environment, they've been thrown into this environment, and it's different, honey. It is different.
Well, I see my kindergarten that were in pre-K last year, like at the end of the day, and they're just like zombies because they don't nap either.
No.
And I remember when I was in kindergarten, we like it was like a transformation. Like the beginning of the year, we did naps, and then after Christmas, we didn't do naps at least. And now they don't even do that. And I'm like,
No. I
they're
mean,
used to taking
yeah,
naps every day, and then also used
yes,
to playing and stuff. And
yes.
there's no toys in those kindergarten rooms over there.
No.
Like it's crazy because we did summer school over there to try to transition them,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it was
There was
just
nothing. Yeah.
not. It's
Well,
desks too.
it
Like
is. It is.
I don't know.
And it's sad to me. That's sad. My baby, my grandbaby he is 6. Now he's 6. He turned 6 in February. So I think he turned 6. Maybe he's 5. I don't even know. But the thing is that he's young. This is a baby. I mean, they are just getting started. And see, I believe that the way they are doing things right now, I truly believe by the time they get to 5th grade, they're completely burned out.
Oh, for sure. I definitely think that for kindergarten, they're like putting a load on these kids. It's kind
Yes.
of crazy.
Well, that's really what this class is all about. Is it developmentally appropriate? How are we teaching our children? And that brings up the other thing that I want to talk about. So much of the things now that our teachers are being required to teach, if you teach kindergarten through 12th grade, there is curriculum. It is curriculum based. There is no play based learning. There is no opportunity for children to explore. It is, you are the dictator. You lay it down. You tell them what to do. You tell them what page to turn to. Read it, understand it, and spit it back out. That's all it is. And is that truly learning? Is that really giving them what they need? And in my opinion, no. I believe that there is room in the kindergarten. I know there's room in pre-K, but there's still room in kindergarten to offer something other than strict curriculum-based teaching. And my point about this is, and you can watch this lecture on your own. I'm not going to sit here and play it for you, but it's probably going to reminisce what you've watched in the lecture. But my point is this: um, students need students in pre-K and kinder need more than what a curriculum can bring them. They need the opportunity to explore their environment and world. And as we study more about play-based learning, you can teach as many standards in kindergarten using play-based learning as you can in curriculum learning. What I call traditional curriculum standard-based learning. Both can work in the kindergarten classroom. Now, it would be very hard to convince your principal of that. The principal would probably laugh at you and say, girl, you better get back over there to that curriculum and teach that curriculum. It is a very, very, well, it's a tough road to hoe, but I still argue that it can be done. And that is the basis of this class. What are we doing to keep our students engaged in kindergarten? Many of them are so frustrated, like my grandson. I think he was showing signs of frustration on the first week. I do. I think he was like, hey, now, whoa. And then what are we doing to engage them? There's not a lot of engagement there in kinder. There's just not. Teachers are in that textbook going page by page. They're showing something on the projector. They're doing this, but there's very little hands-on learning going on. And that is dramatically wrong in my book. And I'm sorry, I preach that to all my students and teacher candidates. And you will have the opportunity when you become the person in your classroom. And you have to be very careful. I'm not asking you to go out there and be a rebel because you got to keep your job. You have to do what you're commanded to do. If you're commanded to teach from a curriculum, you got to do it, but squeeze it in there every way you can, if any way can be offered to those students in a hands-on way, because they learn that way. it connects. It makes a difference. I've noticed several views. And this was a pre-K setting, but I don't know what they were teaching. But they had used fruit and pretzels to make little pictures of men, like or look like themselves. I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know if it was like all about me or if it
we're
was
in
a
All About Me right now, so
yeah. And it was like they used fruit and they used pretzels and crackers and they made these little people. They made a person. They had a certain number of things and they took that and made a little person. I don't know about like themselves
that's
maybe, but it
that's
was that
cute.
was so cute. But that was so hands-on and it was
Yeah,
interesting to see which one put the arms in the right place, which one
yeah,
made hands. And that's developmental. See, you can observe your students and say, okay, that one he's advanced, he is not, he doesn't know where the arms are coming out of the ears. Have you ever seen pictures like that?
yeah,
That is a dead level sign that child is not developmentally where he needs to be. But you don't see that happening in kindergarten, or at least I didn't. I mean, I did, but I did it like breaking the law. But I mean, as a whole, you don't see that. And I think that's when I learn best by my hands. I have to do it in order to know how to do it.
hmm. I
I
feel the same.
can't, I'm all hands in. I'm kind of like the kind of person I got to eat it, I got to sleep it, I got to smell it, I got to
Yeah,
live it to know it.
I am
And
too.
yeah, and if you teach like that to your children, you will be a wonderful educator. They'll never forget you because they'll never forget what you teach them. I mean, it'll just be ingrained in them. So I really feel passionately about, looking at what we're doing. And one of the first things you're going to do in here, one of the first big assignments, let me see if I can share out my page. One of the first big assignments in here, and I'm going to share my page to you because you're just going to see the course shell. And we're going to go down to that week if I ever get this cursor to work. Okay, wish I had something to make it work faster. All right, here we are. But this is a big assignment, Sailor. This is a big assignment. And I I think it's my most favorite assignment. It is what is developmentally appropriate. And if you don't get a book or if you don't buy a book, it's actually here printed in this Dropbox. But on page 10 in your textbook, there is I believe she's a kindergarten teacher, and she describes what happens in her classroom during a center time where three children decided that they wanted to create their own board game. And again, she must have been in a kindergarten that was play based, or it was at least maybe in a time where it was more accepted. And so she basically became their facilitator. She did not become a dictator. She allowed them to create this board game. And what happened was other children got involved, and then she just became an observer, and then she would pose questions to them, and she didn't interrupt their progress. She let them go with it. They used Lego pieces for the markers. They created their own dice by drawing dots on small empty boxes, designed their game board on poster board. They wrote words like go, stop here, bonus, you win as well. Drew shapes, numbers in various spaces. And when they didn't know how to write a word or number, they referred to a chart or a word on the wall, which is kind of like our anchor charts and word walls. They used it, or they asked the teacher or a peer how to spell it. They created a rule book. For the timer, the teacher suggested they use a small empty water bottle and sand. And using a drawing program on the computer, they created play money. They printed it out. The children persisted and returned to the task for days until it was completed. And when the game is ready, they play again and again. They teach others how to play. And basically, that is what you're going to do. You're going to create a learning center. This is nothing that you will find in a book. This is something that you are going to sit down and think up on your own. It is not just like, oh, they're going to play alphabet bingo in this center. No. What are they going to do creatively that they can do hands on that will bring engagement? This was not a planned this was not a planned activity. She basically watched them and said, okay, I'm going with this. But then when you look at what she did, think about how many multiple intelligences that she involved with children. And if you don't know what multiple intelligences are, this is going back to one of your theories you'll be studying. If I can move this cursor, it won't move. Hold on. Here we go. If you don't know what Howard Gardner's multiple intelligent theories is, it's in that Dropbox, and there's 9 that are listed here. In other words, you might learn using verbal and linguistics, like listening with your ears. You might be auditory, you might be verbal linguistic at the same time. Some people are very intrapersonal. They want to be by themselves. They don't want anybody to talk to them. Everybody has a intelligence, and then how was that utilized when she taught that lesson? Or she didn't even teach a lesson. When that center evolved, it all their modalities came into effect there. Their strengths, some of them probably had more strengths with creating the board game or creating the timer. I mean, each of these would apply into to some degree in that center. Another thing you can think about how many standards she taught. Math, reading, letter writing. I mean, there were a lot of standards there that she taught without a book. They applied what they had heard, or they applied what they saw in that classroom to help them create that game, which is amazing. Moving on down, let me see. Here we go. So you will write a paper about it where you will explain your learning center, and then you will do a presentation where you'll create a media presentation over it. You'll tell us about it, and there's certain things you have to have in that, and you're not asked to actually implement it. It's something you're creating in your brain that you're going to put out on paper, but I'm not asking you to implement this. I'm not expecting you to go back to your classroom and do this. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Really, it's opened up to ever how you want to do it. I mean, it's in other words, there's nobody telling you no. You can create whatever you want to create in any way you want to create it, because you don't have a principle to say no to. So you can just do it. It is all in that Dropbox. It just goes on and on and on. It tells you every part of it and how to write it. It even shows you how to set up the cover page to it. It's all there. And the rubric is very, very in detail. Now, in the module, I believe I have prepared, because it's a lot to take in one setting, okay? I'm not expecting you to have it all. If I don't have it in here, I'm going to go back and add it, and I'm just looking to make sure. I don't see it. So I'll go back and add. I do a walkthrough where I'll walk you through the assignment, and I'll post that where you can go in and watch it at your leisure. You don't have to sit here and, go through it like that. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to say week 2. I'm going to go ahead and look in week 2. I see one thing you'll do in week 2. You're going to see the 9 principles of child development. There will be a Nearpod video. Basically, it's a scenario in child development. You will read it and you will answer the questions. But it covers a vast amount of situations that you might come in contact as a pre-K or kindergarten teacher. This follows in line with the, let me click on that so I can read it to you. Hold on just a minute. This follows in line with the develop and learning, and I was going to quote them, and I don't believe I've got that on here. Hold on just a minute. Well, there's a video there, and it has the actual principle 1, and then you read the scenario, you just answer the questions. And you just do that in the text box, okay, and you just receive a grade for it. It's really straightforward. I was trying to think of the name of the people that put that out. It's the NYEC something. I can't think of the name of it, but they govern what they consider to be developmentally appropriate. And we use that a lot. So you need to know what they say about these topics that we've talked about here today. I mean, that's what they do. They ensure that children have developmentally appropriate opportunities. Although in public school, it's not as prevalent as it is maybe elsewhere. That's just the way it is. And yet, public schools don't have a real good reputation of meeting students in a way, you know? Not
Yeah.
when you really get down to it. I hate to say that. I love public school. I was a product of it. I've done it, but there are some drawbacks. So the project for the what is developmentally appropriate that we just talked about, that is not due till September 20th. So you have some time. Don't freak out like, oh, got to do it next week. No, 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 no. Not like that. So if we look on into week 2, just so you'll be prepared, there is one where I ask you to create a small group activity and a large group activity for pre-K. That should be easy. And you will, I believe, post that on the discussion board. And then when we come to class, September the 6th, we'll miss next week. We won't be here. You will actually do that for me in class.
Okay.
I'll be your student, and you'll just do your little activities since it's just one of you. And there is a lecture for you to participate in next week. And the other thing is I'm just going to come back up here and hit this. I'm going to change the due date on this assignment here. I mean, we're not going to do this in class. I just think it's wasting your time and mine too. But this is a group project, and all it is a focus on play. You just go in and watch the video and then name one point that you, when discussing play in pre-K and kindergarten, that you learned, a new concept. One key point where you see how Howard's Gardner theory of multiple intelligence is used in pre-K and kinder. And then you reflect over your life as a child. Like, how do you remember play? What do you remember playing as a child?
Um, in the classroom,
Just maybe yourself at home. What did you play the most at home?
uh, I played like acting like I was a chef or like at a restaurant, like taking orders. I remember doing
Yes.
that one time.
Did you ever play school? I'm just curious.
Oh yes, I played school for sure. Me and my best friend, we
Yes.
had a little
So see,
whiteboard.
yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah. We should all have a reflection of our child's life as a child. And what did you play? Because more than likely you were learning about your environment when you played.
Yeah,
I even quote here where I was an only child. I didn't have any brothers and sisters. So a lot of times my parents had to, I guess, play or kind of like, okay, let's just go along with her. But I remember taking the pad, like you said, and pretending like I was a waitress to my mom
hmm,
and daddy at the table. I remember doing that, and I
yeah,
remember my daddy thought that was the cutest thing in the world. I remember just. And but what I'm saying is that I had watched when we had went out to eat. And
hmm,
I thought that lady was something else that she did all that, and I was impressed. So I came home and I did it. But that's how children learn about their world.
yeah,
I mean, and you'll see in this video how beautifully he explains what play means to the child. And the other thing is that I just want to say this: play develops the brain.
for sure.
It does. And children that don't play, and I worry about this because we have so much technology.
Hmm.
I do, you do, our children do, our grandchildren do. Till we need to initiate time where we say, okay, you cannot play on that right now. You got to go outside and play. Because when
Yeah.
I was growing up, my mama said, get yourself outside.
Oh yeah.
And children nowadays don't do that. They don't. Now my son has 4. They're expecting number 5 in October.
Yes.
And listen,
Congrats.
they play outside. I mean, they are, but she also homeschools, so they're just really strange people that they would do all that. No, they're not. They're wonderful parents, and
Yeah.
they are doing a fabulous job. And she is a wonderful homeschool teacher. Some people are made for that. I wasn't. I would have been the worst homeschool teacher in the world. I would have been over there saying, "Let me sit down here and watch this TV show."
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it.
Couldn't do it either. She's very good at it. And but like when we talk, because they now live in Michigan. They used to live here in town with us, and they moved away, and it was just devastating. He's a pastor, and they moved to Michigan, and we were so happy for them, but it was just devastating. They took all our grandchildren away from us. We
Oh,
thank God got one in Leesburg. But anyway, um, I mean, they'll be outside playing. I mean, they have time where they are just out there playing in the yard, playing on the swings, playing on the trampoline. I mean, and I don't think that my grandson in Lynchburg does that. I know he does it.
my
He's got
goodness.
that. He's got the iPad
Yeah.
in his face and his pad.
Hmm.
So play is important, and that's all this is. It's really simplistic. It's not a hard assignment. If you'll just do that on your own, I will extend this deadline until next week. It'll be way into next week before it's due. I think it's due tonight, but that was because it was supposed to be a group project today in class, and we're not going to do it in class. There's no way.
Okay, so that was the group project you're talking
Yeah,
about,
that was a
right?
good project. I'll just go in and change that due date. In fact, why don't I do that
Okay.
right
Okay.
now?
And then we're talking about for next week, that I would just present in class to you. That was the
That
small
was
group
the
nursery.
yes. And you
Okay.
won't present that until September the 6th, because see, we won't meet
When we
next
come
week.
back. Yeah. But well, it's not due until September 6th. I was
Yes,
about to
right.
say.
It's not due. So you got time. You got time. You got
I was gonna
all this
ask if
week and
I
next week.
needed to turn it in and then, which I haven't even clicked on it.
Yeah. You got time to work on it. I'm going to
Okay.
change this due
I'll
date
look at it
to,
later.
yeah. And I'm going to change this due date to the 30th. This will be next Saturday. I'll just put it on next Saturday, and that way you'll have time to do this little play activity. Focus on play. It's not due until next Saturday, so you've got time to go back and do that. And that's how we'll handle these things. Because I mean, it's just you and I, and it's just it's just what it is. We're gonna make the best of it, but I still think you've gotten quite a bit out of it, and I think you will get more out of it as you watch the videos, watch the lectures, and we'll just come back together and meet and talk and move through it as best we can. Now, do you have any questions? Because you may have lots of questions, and I haven't given you a chance to ask anything.
No, I feel like I've kind of asked you throughout
Okay. You feel
that the questions
comfortable?
I did have.
Okay, now I don't want you to feel uncomfortable now. If you let me know if there's something you don't feel comfortable about, because
Okay.
like I said, we will work through it. Now the discussion board was just a post. You've already done that one, and then there's one where you just make a statement about the requirements you understand. And then that in group group in class project has been moved to August the 30th. You'll just do that on your own. Just
Okay.
do a Word document and drop it in there. Doesn't have to be anything fancy smancy, okay?
Okay.
This is more or less just giving you more information.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
The what is developmentally appropriate lecture, you can go through that and watch those videos. There are some good ones. And then you will see there is a video in there. I'm not sure if it's in that, but I will tell you
Uh,
this. I'm going to look.
I I
Yes.
went through this PowerPoint and I'm glad you mentioned it, but I none of the video links will work for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I
Well,
click
isn't
on
that
it.
strange?
Yeah, it's super weird. I click on it.
Hey, I know what happened. You know what happened? I know what happened. That has not been updated. And what I'll do is I'll go back in and put the current one in. I think I missed that. That's what happened. So let
Okay.
me do that for you. And again, it's just food for thought.
Okay.
But I will. I will. That's exactly what happened. Let me update that. Let me make a note of that.
Okay.
Update that PowerPoint. I updated it for the other class, but I think I forgot. Update PowerPoint first week. Yes, I got you. Okay,
I
I'll do that.
totally forgot to even ask you about that too.
Thank
So
you. Thank you for mentioning that, because I definitely want you to look at that. That's just something for food for thought. On the
yes, sir.
screen right now, you're going to see a circle map.
Mhm.
And, I didn't know anything about all these different maps until I was about in my 25th year of teaching. And the new principal came on board and talked about the importance of using these in the classroom. Kind of like a Venn diagram, if you will. But basically, this lady, and I don't know if this one is in there or not, but she talks about what is the definition of what is developmentally appropriate. And I'll just do this as our closing. First of all, we must respect childhood. We need to do a better job of protecting our children's childhood experiences. And that goes even in the classroom. Because truly, I do not believe that the powers that be, that make the rules, that make the standards, that create all these things that we have to do as teachers, truly understand what it means to be a child. I think childhood is being ripped away from children. And I'm sorry, I will defend this to the day I die, but I believe truly that kindergarten should be like it was 30 years ago, where it was exploratory, where students learned about the world around them, and they were introduced to the concept of school and not have the total preparatory school that is going on now, where students are demanded to read and demanded to know math, and just it's all on demand. You have to do this. If you don't do this, you don't measure up. And that's not necessarily true, because children are children and they all develop differently. It doesn't mean if someone is delayed that they're not intelligent. It just means they need more time, and they should be given the grace of that time to develop. Second, we must understand that developmentally appropriate is a larger process. We know that we'll teach the children to read, but it is a process. In other words, we shouldn't expect them to do it all at once. But now, if you really go into a kindergarten classroom, literally, you are giving them a bench line benchmark, in the first week of school. You want to find out, do they know their letters? Do they know their sounds? Can they even manipulate them? Could they segment and blend all within the first week of school?
We
And
do
you've got
that.
somebody over there that can't hold a pencil
We do that
or
in
doesn't
pre-K
talk.
too, and
Yes.
I mean, just to see where they're at. But
Yeah.
it is crazy because, like you said, like some of them can't even hold a pencil right on
Exactly.
how because
And third, yeah.
we
And
don't
third,
necessarily.
we need to respect that children are individuals.
Sorry, we don't necessarily like focus on writing as
Right.
much as other things in pre-K too. And during summer school, we know like we did focus on writing, and it's just I don't know. It's
It's
just
just terrible. I mean, they
yeah.
can't write right now. They shouldn't be made to, but they are. I guess eventually you introduce lined paper, don't you?
Line paper
Mm-hmm.
in
Like at
pre-K.
the end of the year.
I last year we didn't that I remember. No, I don't think so.
Oh,
Unless
good,
that
good,
was something
good.
we
That's a good thing.
did. Yeah.
Because they don't need that. They need unlined paper. They just need to draw or hold a pencil, as well as they can. Third, we respect that children are individuals. And this is where it comes into the fact that not everybody's on the same level. We understand children come from different backgrounds and experiences, and children are individuals, and that comes with diversity. In other words, there's going to be children that you're going to meet that have never been talked to. They've been in a room somewhere and they've been put in front of a TV, or they've been put in front of a babysitter, and they're not verbally where they should be. Um, but we need to respect that, and we need to try to encourage, of course, whatever we need to do to help that child along the way. But I don't think that the powers that be pay any attention to this, and I certainly don't think, in all fairness and honesty, I really do not think that they are respecting children. Just don't.
Yeah.
And I think you agree.
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
think you would disagree with that. So
Well, it talked about it in one of the videos where it was just like, um, kids need to be kids, don't rush them, which it was just same thing what you were reading pretty much.
yeah,
But it's like,
yeah,
it's crazy because
yeah,
kids can't even be kids in some situations.
exactly,
Or it sounds
exactly.
like in kindergarten at least
Yeah,
right now,
yeah,
especially.
right. And I do think pre-K does a good job of protecting. I do.
We have
I don't
so
have any. Yeah.
we have so many requirements that are literally just play center. You know what I mean? So
Yes. Yes.
there's a ton
And
in
that's
pre.
the way it should be. That's the way it should be. So that's really the class today. That's what we would have done if there had been 20 in here. So I'm going to replace that PowerPoint with the current one. And then you can go through and I think you can see the assignments you need to work on. If you get anywhere and you have a question, you just email me and I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
And I think we're going to enjoy this little setup. So you have a great rest of your day.
Yes, ma'am. You too.
Okay, bye bye.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll put the video of this up at some point.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.